Hi, this is Florian from lifesciencementor.com, and today I'm talking about 10 items that I can get rid of, and maybe you can too. So, the background of this challenge is that more and more, at least I was that way, um, we accumulate a lot of stuff. And yeah, as you probably realize, there's a lot of stuff that I got. But those things are important to me. But other stuff is just accumulating, right? So a couple weeks ago, I took I took a task from the website theminimalists.com, and this task would be to get rid on day one of one item, day two, two items, day three, three items, and so on and so forth. The first 10 days are really easy. You don't need that extra brush or extra fly sweater. We have so much extra stuff accumulated. But then after 10, 12 days, you kind of go through all the easy stuff, right? Things that you maybe wanted to get rid of anyway. And then it becomes hard, but it's absolutely worth it having to throw away 28 or 29 or 30 items each day at the end of the month. And it's 465 items in total. And what that what happened was that after I got rid of 465 items, I felt much freer, right? So if you have less stuff, and that was also something that Aaron Clary mentioned in his book Bachelor Pad Economics, the less stuff you have, the less room you need to store the stuff. And just imagine you can put all your belongings into two suitcases and one box. You just use a small car and drive from one place to the other. Or you can travel without anything that ties you down. Some people even whittle down all their material possessions to 50 to 100 items. And those items tend to be really important to you. Then, for example, you keep an iPad and get rid of all of your books, but you keep like all of these books in electronic copy on your iPad, then your iPad becomes a really important element and not just some add-on gadget that you bought somewhere. And so many things in life are more important than just material possessions because they can never they can never they can never replace human interaction, hanging out with friends, um, witnessing things, having great memories. That's much more important because, you know, at the end of your life, what you really want is more time and not more stuff, right? So why do you want more time? To spend it with people you like, or spend it on activities that you really enjoy. So even after I've got rid of the 465 items, there's still some more items I can get rid of, and I've tried to list them here. And maybe there's some ideas for you as well, where you thought, oh man, yeah, sure, I don't need these things. And sometimes getting rid of items means also repurposing them. You can also sell them, give them to someone who really needs them, or actually turn them into something different, more meaningful to you. So, for example, number one is a huge pile of notes. I mean, this here. There. If you're like me, you write down a lot of ideas over the course of the day. However, you will you have to make sure you review your note in regular distances, regular interval. Otherwise, they just pile up, and that kind of happened to me there. So I'll go through those notes like one by one by one, and we'll go through those notes over the next, I don't know, 30, 60 days or so. But it's important that I tackle that to, to be able to free my mind, because the more stuff you get rid of, the easier really it is to breathe. That was my experience. So number one, notes. And it also feels good to have taken care of all the notes you wrote down. Then here, old CDs. Maybe you didn't grow up in the 90s. Maybe CDs weren't present for you at all. But when I grew up, CDs were a big thing. We used to have tapes, and then came the CD, and I still remember the first CDs I bought, and this was exciting. And soon thereafter came the data CDs, and were replaced by data DVDs. And now DVDs we still have, right? If you haven't signed up to Netflix streaming, for example, and get it sent to you, then you have DVDs that you can play with your computer or with your DVD player, Blu-ray, and so on and so forth. But as a data medium, CDs and DVDs are long obsolete, because you can get your data on a hard drive, and these were hard drives. I used this hard drive. I bought it when I went to the US, 2005, and it could store, I think, 100 gigabyte, if I remember correctly. And look at this. It needs how do you call it? It needs a electrical power outlet. You know, this thing, this monster, needs a power outlet for storing 100 gigabyte, right? And the power outlet, of course, the plug is German, so it's one of these really thick German plugs that fit in no adapter that I could even use it here. And I thought long about what might be on there. I think I have old pictures of my girlfriend. I think ex-girlfriend. I think she has them on her computer. And I really don't need that, because I have not missed any of the photos that are on here. So I can just toss it. And just to compare, this is 100 gigabyte and needs electricity, and this here is 64 gigabyte. I'm sure I bought this 2 years ago. I'm sure you can buy like probably 250 gigabyte flash drive now that has more capacity than this here. So you can throw that away. Then books. So as I mentioned, lots of books are now available in electronic copy, and unless you have some really precious books, you can give them away. Sell them to a library, sell them via the Amazon fulfillment program, give them away, leave them laying in the train. Maybe give them away with a little note on your address inside, right? So other people who read that see your address, and then they maybe call you to do a favor for them or something like that, right? That would be a way to give them away with some potential win for you, some potential upside for you. But by and large, so I have some books like written by Siegfried Lenz that I have from the old that were my grandmother's old possession. I know those were very important to her, and she gave them to me before she died, basically. But you know, I'll keep some of them because I can't have the English version of them on the iPad. It's not really existing. But other than that, I tossed a lot of books and only kept the ones that had very nice appearance or that I couldn't get via Amazon. So books. Get an iPad or a Kindle. It's much easier to keep it, and it doesn't take away so much space. Plus, if you move, you don't need to put like tons of heavy books into boxes. Just have your iPad or your Kindle. One thing you should keep in mind though, with an iPad and Kindle, those books are never yours, right? So when the author withdraws or falls out of Amazon, or even if Amazon breaks down by some miracle at one point, right? Those books are gone. But then again, on the other hand, books are there for being read and being worked with, and you shouldn't have them as static monuments anyway. Maybe you want to have some classic of literature in some nice leather-bound cover, but I wouldn't just keep them, keep them, work with them all the time, but you don't need to have them as a physical copy. Textiles. Yeah, you can sort out your old socks or your old coats or pullovers, whatever, and then give them either to the Salvation Army, which when I looked into that, you had to bring them by, and I don't have a car, so it's not really an attractive possibility. But then the Vietnam Vets of America, that organization, they stop by your door and pick it up. They pick up textiles, books, household items, anything, and you donate it for a good cause. So that's definitely something. That's definitely something you can do. Get rid of the textiles. It'll be much easier to breathe. Old board games. I have an old chessboard that I don't really play with at all, and you can have a nicer chessboard. Um, Play with some people at, if you live in New York, Washington Square, or in your town. I'm sure there are also chess players around somewhere, or any other board game player. You can play them in bars. You can play them with friends. Unless you're really a fan of board games, old board games, you probably don't need them that much anymore. So you can give them away. Then pictures and picture frames. I have a lot of old, traditionally taken pictures, right? Like paper prints of pictures, and I'm in the process of scanning them in, and then having them available electronically. And they are electronic picture frames that you can have pictures rotating through, have them on your wall, or you use real picture frames and take the physical photos and put them in. The point is not having the photos in a box, in some cupboard, but have them present. Photos are memories. Photos can point to things you want to do for the future. So it makes sense to have them present with you all the time, and not have them whittling away and behind some doors in the dark attic. Think about that. If you don't want to throw them away, scan them in. That way you have them an electronic copy on your computer. And you can share them via Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. There's so many possibilities what you can do nowadays, instead of letting photos alone in the dark. Really, you can really scan them in and use the electronic copies. Don't only share them with your friends, but share them with a lot of different people, and that may be a nicer possibility than storing them with you. Number 7, cleaning utensils. I've accumulated a lot of extra sponges, brushes, an extra fly swatter that I don't really need, so those go away. Old cables and adapters. So since we live in an electronic time, lots of items come with some spare cables, and you may have a box with all these cables accumulated. And then you get rid of some item, like an electronic mixer or a modem, and there's several cables that you still have. Like, for example, here, they installed a new modem, and then they just left these cables. I don't really know what to do with them, so I can actually just toss them. What should I do with them? So, maybe not toss them there, throw them away, but, cables, something you don't really need. And adapters, think twice. Do you really want to keep them when the original item is long but sold or non-functional? There's always this temptation to say, oh, maybe I need them one time. I may need them. But rest assured, so many things you will never ever need. If you haven't needed them for the last 5 years, chances are you won't need them in the future either. Number 9, old textile bags. Maybe it's just me, but I have several bags that I use for shopping. I don't need so many textile bags, so they can go away. And number 10, open books. So maybe you start reading several books at once. That means at one point you have several open books. And I believe that stresses your mind, knowing that there are open loops. Excuse me. If my mind knows there are open loops, books that are unfinished, it really only calms down when I've actually finished those books. So finish open books, just read them through one after the other, and you'll be much more relaxed. That's not really tossing something away, but it's finishing something. And that's why it's point number 10. That's it. 10 points. To recap, 10 items you could throw away, 10 items you probably don't need anymore, 10 items you can take care of or repurpose. 1, a huge pile of notes. 2, old CDs, DVDs, hard drive. 3. Books. 4. Textiles. 5. Old board games and toys. 6. Pictures and picture frames. 7. Cleaning utensils. 8. Old cables and adapters. 9. Textile bags. And 10. Finish open books. That's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, leave a like on the video so that more people can see it. And I'm happy to have you. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow at the start of the week. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Let me know how you liked it. Leave me a comment. Maybe you have some additional ideas, other items, other ways to get rid of items. Maybe you've experience with the Amazon fulfillment program. And other than that, thanks again for your interest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.